Julia Roberts, the luminous smile that launched 1,000 magazine covers and defined romantic comedy for a generation, has never shied away from speaking her truth. At 57, with a career spanning over 3 decades that includes iconic turns in Pretty Woman, Erin Brockovich, and Notting Hill, she remains a force in an industry that chews up and spits out even the most resilient talents. In a candid revelation that cuts to the heart of Hollywood's enduring inequities, Roberts has laid bare the stark reality of a town still super male-dominated, where women like her must navigate rooms filled with testosterone-fueled decision-makers, often as the lone female voice at the table. Her words, delivered with the same unflinching directness that won her an Oscar for portraying a tenacious legal advocate, underscore not just personal triumph but a broader battle waged by women across creative fields. Through sheer audacity, "I am without fear," she declares, Roberts has carved a path of empowerment, turning systemic barriers into stepping stones for her own unassailable success. The conversation that sparked this introspection stems from Roberts' latest venture, the gripping drama After the Hunt, a film that probes the treacherous terrain of power dynamics, accusations of misconduct, and the moral tightrope women walk in male-centric environments. Directed by the visionary Luca Guadagnino, Call Me by Your Name, the story centers on Alma, Roberts' character, a tenured professor and mentor entangled in a web of professional and personal loyalties when her protégée, Maggie, played by the breakout star Ayo Edebiri, levels serious allegations against a colleague, Hank, Michael Shannon. Alma's world unravels as she grapples with her friendship to the accused, her duty to her student, and the insidious undercurrents of a deeply misogynist academia that mirrors the cutthroat boardrooms of Hollywood itself. For Roberts, embodying Alma wasn't merely an acting exercise, it was a mirror to her own odyssey through an industry where women are perpetually auditioning not just for roles, but for relevance and respect. Well, it's still super male. Roberts snapped in response to a probing question about Alma's navigation of such a hostile landscape, her tone a blend of exasperation and wry acknowledgement. This isn't hyperbole, it's the lived reality of a woman who exploded onto screens in 1990 with Pretty Woman, transforming a rags-to-riches tale into a box-office behemoth that grossed over $463 million worldwide. Back then, at 22, Roberts was a fresh-faced ingenue, her megawatt grin disarming critics who dismissed rom-coms as lightweight fluff. Yet even in those early days the industry's patriarchal scaffolding was evident. Directors like Gary Marshall handed her the reins to a character who flipped the script on traditional damsels, but the power behind the camera remained overwhelmingly male. Fast forward 35 years and Roberts finds herself at metaphorical tables, whether in casting meetings, production huddles, or award ceremonies, where she's often sitting with maybe only one other woman there. It's a scenario as familiar as it is fatiguing, one that echoes the experiences of trailblazers from Betty Davis to modern powerhouses like Reese Witherspoon, who founded Hello Sunshine to amplify female voices. What sets Roberts apart in this narrative of endurance is her philosophy of fearless confrontation. Asked how she seized control in these lopsided environments, she didn't mince words. "In those sort of environments, I am without fear." This mantra isn't bravado, it's battle-tested wisdom forged in the fires of negotiation rooms and set politics. Consider Erin Brockovich, 2000. Where Roberts channeled a single mother's dogged pursuit of justice against corporate polluters, earning her a Best Actress Academy Award and a record-breaking $20 million salary, the highest ever for an actress at the time. That payday wasn't handed over, it was wrested through shrewd agency and an unyielding belief in her value, at a moment when female leads were routinely underpaid compared to their male counterparts. Roberts' approach, confronting imbalance head-on without apology, has rippled outward, inspiring a new guard of actresses to demand equity clauses and diverse crews. Yet, as she notes, the fight persists. Any woman in any job not populated in the majority by women can say Alma's speech. We've all had that experience. Any woman has. Diving into After the Hunt, Roberts' portrayal of Alma delves into the psychological toll of this perpetual vigilance. The character is a high achiever in a field rife with unspoken hierarchies, where mentorship can blur into complicity, and ambition clashes with ethics. For Roberts, slipping into Alma's skin required suppressing her innate hen-like personality, that nurturing instinct to gather, feed and care, in favor of a steely detachment. "The hardest part for me was not being sympathetic and empathetic," she confessed, highlighting the mental contortions demanded by a role that defies her natural inclinations. "For me as a person it's like, oh, how can I hold her?" And she was not to be held. This was not the time. This admission reveals the depth of her craft. Roberts, whose filmography brims with empathetic heroines, from the vulnerable Vivian in Pretty Woman to the resilient Shelby in Steel Magnolias, had to unlearn softness to embody a woman armored against betrayal. Guadagnino's direction kept her on the right rails, turning exhaustion into exhilaration. The mental gymnastics of the way she lives her life is very unfamiliar to me. And then it's a playground. The film's ensemble added layers to this exploration, with co-stars who both challenged and elevated Roberts. Take Chloe Sevigny, the indie darling whose eclectic resume spans Kids to We Are the People, whose arrival on set sparked a wave of collective nerves. Roberts recalled the scene with vivid humor. Gathered around her kitchen table for rehearsals, the group buzzed with anticipation as producer Alan Mandelbaum announced Sevigny's imminent arrival. "I was so excited and intimidated about meeting Chloe," Roberts shared, locking eyes with Edebiri in shared vulnerability. Luca goes, "What?" And I go, "I'm scared." And Ayo goes, "Me too." And my daughter, Hazel, goes, "I'm leaving." The doorbell's chime sent Hazel fleeing through the garage, a domestic detail that humanizes the star, underscoring how even icons like Roberts contend with imposter syndrome amid peers. Sevigny's intensity, forged in New York's gritty art scene, intimidated because it represented an artistic fearlessness Roberts admired, and perhaps envied.